No, so I'll just tag along and I'll speak that, see guys, I mean, what ends up happening and very, very practically speaking is that there are multiple reasons why we are decided to homeschool our kids. One prime reason is that you might think that, you know what, these guys are like financially free. So ho gaya, right? I mean, they just lie down on some beach all day long and ho gaya, right? So is that what our reality is? And what are like areas we are struggling as of now? For us, the way we think about it is, this Ayushi, we will travel, right? And now
No, adding to that.
Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. So Ayushi and I met in the year 2011. We got married in 2018. Along the way, we have been blessed with two wonderful kids. Our daughter was born recently, just 2 months back. So super thankful, super happy because of that. We are enjoying that extremely busy phase. Also deeply thankful for all the love, all the support that people have given us, all the blessings that God has given us. We are at that stage in our career that despite being extremely busy, we can call ourselves financially free. So God has been extremely kind. You guys have been deeply kind to us. So we thought that we will make a video where we will discuss our financial journey, because when we met in 2011, how much money we were making? Somewhere around like 30,000, somewhere around that range. Now at this stage, after roughly 12 years, we are financially free. So I will hand it over to Ayushi if she can explain the overview of this entire video, what we are going to talk about, and then we will delve deeper into the topic.
So on this video, we are basically going to talk about 5 points. We'll talk about the skills we built over the last 10 to 12 years and how it helped us reach the stage we are at. We'll talk about our thoughts on money, on time, and what we plan to do in our future. And probably it will help some of you take away some lessons which you can implement in your life.
We would also like to thank the sponsors of today's video, which is MASAI School. They are revolutionizing the way the pay after placement is executed in the education space. There is also a very quick personal story that I would like to share here, that the year before applying to NCERT, I had applied to American universities and I got through some really top programs. Unfortunately, I was not able to go, and same happened in Ayushi's case, that she was not able to attend Yale, primarily because of money constraints and money concerns. So next year I applied to NCERT, got in with full scholarship, and that was amazing. And yeah, and therefore I was able to attend it. So many times people miss such opportunities. So now there is a new concept in play in the education world, which is a wonderful concept. It is called as pay after placement. So PAP, agreement, is a legal contract that makes education outcome based. And MASAI School is leading this revolution. It is not an education loan, as students do not have to pay any interest and they do not have to put up any collateral. If students do not get placed after 1 year of graduation, then the education becomes completely free at MASAI. So do check out the links in the description and comment box for more information on this program. So let's jump right into the topic. And the first key point that we are going to discuss about is that how to double, triple your salary. What exactly is it that we did and what exactly is it that people should be doing? We will cover that point quickly. So the first bit around that is that what, according to you, are 3 skills that people need to double, triple their salaries in today's age, 2023?
So to answer this question, I'll draw from my own experience. I think there are 3 major things which really helped me. First was having good education and good brands on my resume. And that really helped me get the first round of interviews in most of the exams that I wrote. Then the second point was having the ability to learn myself while on the job and networking with people, because if you network with people, you get more opportunities. And finally, the third skill was having an area of expertise. So while I was on the job, I developed my own area of expertise, and that really helped me develop those skills which can potentially increase my salary.
Absolutely. So we have done a video on specialist versus generalist here. Please go and watch it. We will not repeat those points. I will also tag along 3 of my top skills. But before that, couple of counter questions for Ayushi. These days, a lot of college students are dropping out of college. College education is not important, this, that. So what is your viewpoint on that very quickly?
So to answer this question, in my era, and not that I'm very old, but in my era, college was very important and it really helped you distinguish your profile from your peers. So good brands and good grades in college really mattered a lot. So for example, I was from SRCC, which is a top college of economics in India. And that was one of the talking points during my UPSC interview. I had also gotten through Yale that year. While I did not pursue it because of my own personal reasons, but that was another point that was discussed in my interview. So having that unique brand on your resume definitely helps, and interviewers actually see that while interviewing you.
So this is an important point to note that even in government jobs, so for example, Ayushi cleared UPSC. So during her interviews, it really helped, the college branch helped. I'll speak from my own experience about college education that when you are applying for elite private jobs, VC, PE, investment banking, management consulting, all these, if you are from a good college, it can help you a lot because there are target colleges from which all of these companies recruit. So if you are from a non-target college, yeah, tier 2, tier 3 college, so then it becomes like a little bit of a challenge. So yeah, so we can continue to discuss this point, but we will move on very, very quickly as to what are my top 3 skills that would allow people to make more money. And to outline that concept, I will discuss my story, right? So for example, I started working in management consulting. Wahan pe the top skill required is that you should be really good at making like PPTs, right? So people think that consultants only make PPTs, but honestly, it's about communication. Effective communication is very, very important. What exactly is effective communication? It's ability to read, write, speak really well, right? So that is what effective communication is. So the first skill to me would be evergreen skills. Second would be trending skills. So for example, after management consulting, I went on to, sort of start my own companies, do YouTube. So this is like, these are like trending skills, entrepreneurial skills, business thinking, vagera, vagera. Third and finally would be money skills or investing skills. This according to me is extremely critical in 2023. Why? Because this tweet here explains this entire concept, and I haven't checked the mathematical calculations here, but this is actually true, right? That if you just keep on saving money and do not learn about earning money much, then it becomes a problem. So having that money skills, how to invest money properly. Yes, you should save, you should create discretionary income, understand taxation, understand where opportunities are. This will all fall in that broad money domain. So I think developing all these collective points, Ayushi graduated from good college, I graduated from good college, we developed evergreen skills, we developed trending skills. So all this is really helping us out. So over to Ayushi, what are some new skills that you're developing in 2023? If you can take us through that.
So I think I'm picking a few skills from Akshat. I am learning how to YouTube. I'm not very active on social media all throughout. While I do write and I do make videos, but I'll start doing it more consistently from now on. So I'm learning how to YouTube from him.
Right, and there is one new thing that we are picking up. It's about like writing really well in a book format. So our book will be coming out. So we are working on a book right now, and it will come out next year. एक मेरी सोलो बुक आने वाली है and one book we are doing together. So yeah, authoring is one skill that we are really looking forward to. We'll go through a lot of challenges, but hopefully we'll be able to navigate that. Okay, so over to second key point.
Managing kids is another skill we're looking to develop.
Right, so managing kids is another skill. So with that said, let's move to point 2, and parenting पे अलग video बन सकता है. So let's move to point 2, and the second key point that we want to outline is the core of the video, where we will discuss 7 steps that we have taken to become financially free. So Ayushi, if you can start with the first one. We have jotted down and made some notes. So Ayushi is going to speak one point and I'm going to speak the next.
So step 1, as we talked about, getting good education and probably getting good brands on your CV can be very important. It can help you kickstart your career, and that can be leveraged later in the future.
So absolutely. So just tagging along on this point, that because the competition is so much and there are different types of jobs. For example, what youngsters miss on this is कि what freelancer economy में बहुत jobs हो रहे हैं. You can become a YouTuber, you can become like an entrepreneur. You don't need like a good educational background for it. Maybe not, I don't know. But if you're looking for standardized jobs, their competition is a lot, and there also room for opportunity or growth for opportunity is a lot. So getting good education really helps you attack these type of jobs very prominently. So please do not miss that. The rest is your call, whichever direction you want to go to. So step 2 is that finding the right life partner and figuring out a way to work, right? What we have realized from our own experience over the last roughly 12 years is that there have been phases where my career has taken a backseat. There have been phases when Ayushi's career has taken a backseat. We really had to make things work, right? So let me give a couple of examples here. So for example, at one point in time, Ayushi was thinking, should I even write like UPSC, government job karni chahiye, nahi karni chahiye? But that gave us a lot of safety for me to become like an entrepreneur. So that collectively deciding it really helped us a lot. Next phase, Ayushi, if you can explain it, what is it that we are trying to do next, right? In terms of our career, probably people will get a slightly better idea on that.
So for example, now that we have 2 kids, we want to spend a lot of time with them, and we also want to homeschool them. So that requires time and energy on our part. And that is why we are trying to find a balance in both of our careers and a lot of flexibility as well, so that we can spend more time with the kids.
Right. So just to contextualize it better, basically, when we started out, initially our goal was बस financially free होना है. But the point is that challenges never stop. They keep on evolving in different
responsibilities
shapes.
keep on increasing, so you have to find your own balance there.
Absolutely. So that's the simple message that we want to give out, that you'll have to find a life partner and you have to keep balancing things. That's the second key step, that you'll have to continue to do it, right? There is no end to this, right? So that's two. So third thing that we did to become financially free was to develop a safety net. So I'll let Ayushi explain that point.
So this is more of a money related point. When we started with our jobs, we also built a safety net, which means we had our emergency fund in place. We also started investing in FDs and more of liquid money, so that we had a nest to fall back on in case we took more risks and things did not work out. So safety nest is something that we created early on in our careers.
Right. So this safety net allowed us to take more risks with time, and that is exactly what we have been trying to learn, how to take better risks. We have undertaken a lot of risks that we are going to speak about, but basically having this safety net gave us the confidence to take risks. So which brought us to step number 4, which is to create wealth. Now, like it or not, in order to create wealth, you have to take risk and you have to manage risk. For many of us, taking risk means कि यार equity market में निवेश करना, and you know what, buying like some other asset class or buying like real estate or buying land. All those are risky moves. A lot of things can go wrong. But in order to build wealth, you have to take that risk. So we started investing more of our money into slightly more riskier instruments like equities, like real estate. Because honestly, when it comes to equities or real estate, those are asset classes that can actually beat inflation or the price rise in the economy. And it's absolutely critical that if you're looking to grow your wealth, then you have to take your risk. But important point to notice that we had already created our basic safety nest as per step 3 that Ayushi had explained. So which brought us to step number 5.
So step number 5 was, once we started creating wealth, we also had to think about diversification, which means not putting all your eggs in one basket. So while we invested in equities, we also invested in real estates. Now within real estates also, we invested in different asset classes. We are not only purchasing real estate, we are also building businesses around it. For example, we are building a resort in Goa, and we'll announce that soon on Akshat's YouTube channel. So these are the things that we are taking to diversify the assets that we have invested in.
So this brings us to point number 6, which is around building parallel income streams. The diversification mein to ye ho gaya ki you are putting your money across different asset classes. So, you know, you're diversifying your wealth. But you also need to have like a source of income which you can tag along to different types of things. For example, you might have seen that, you know, we are making this video. By some viewership, we might get some money from YouTube, right? So that's one income stream, so to say. I run a community membership on Wisdom Hatch, which is related to stock markets. So that is another parallel income streams. Now, many people want to build these parallel income streams, but they struggle to figure out कि क्या income streams बनानी चाहिए, right? My simple advice there would be that you should build income streams around your area of expertise, around things where you have a lot of experience. So Ayushi, if you can quickly explain what type of income streams do government employees can make, and also some tips for people in jobs, what kind of income streams that they can make.
So in particular, government officers can actually do certain things which can increase their income. For example, if you go and take sessions anywhere and you get some remuneration around it, you are legally allowed to do that. You just have to disclose it in your office. So that is step 1. So second thing is that if you write a book and whatever royalty you make out of it, that is completely legal. You might have to disclose it in your office, but that is again completely legal. And thirdly, if you want to invest in stock market, you're again allowed to do it. You just have to disclose whatever income you're making, and that is it.
Trading is not allowed?
Trading is not allowed. Intraday trading is not allowed, but rental income, investing in stock market, dividends, etc. is absolutely legal.
So all these options you can check. This is a video that I've done on creating parallel income streams, not going into the nitty-gritties of it. Please watch this video. Now over to the final step in our journey, which is more and more we are realizing now, is the concept of owning your time. When you have kids, you will quickly realize that time becomes the most scarce resource that you have. So it becomes extremely critical for you to be aware how you are controlling your time. You need to be hyper productive. You need to be okay with the fact that your entire day can be disrupted because, you know, some new thing can come up from the kid's side. That you have to make a doctor's visit, vagera. So owning your time becomes a very important critical step.
And also at the stage we are at, I think we want to spend more time with our kids and our parents. So I think if you want to give time to your family, then having this concept of owning your time and actually implementing steps to do that is very important.
No, absolutely. So just final very quick point around that is that in order to own your time, what needs to happen is that you need to create passive income streams. That becomes an extremely important concept. Therefore, I keep on advocating on my channel that you must learn about investing, because investing is a income stream. Investing, not trading. Trading is very, very different. If you don't understand the difference, please Google it. Please be very, very clear about the investing is very, very different from trading. So if you are investing it, then it's not as if that you need to spend hours and hours each day in order to curate that income stream. So yeah, so pick like these type of income streams, passive income streams that do not demand crazy amount of time from your side. Any productivity tips that you would like to share as a mom?
So I think as a mother, you really need to plan your day in advance. It really helps keep things in motion, and also you need to prioritize, because you cannot do everything in a single day. So do the top 3-4 things that you have to do, and rest, I think you can spread it out.
So okay, so this brings us to the third key topic that we would like to discuss on this video, that we see a lot of people around us, many of our friends are choosing not to have kids. We are not calling it whether it's a good decision, bad decision. This is an extremely personal decision, but they are not doing that or not getting married, right? Or because they think that, it's a lot of investment of finance, it's a lot of investment of time, career break ho jayega, right? Career mein struggle aa jayega and all that. So we are just trying to present our viewpoint on it. We are not trying to push you कि आपको शादी करनी चाहिए, बच्चे करने चाहिए and all that. Nothing of that sort. We are just trying to tell you that many a times people make these decisions of not getting married, especially when they want to, or not having kids, especially when they want to have kids, because of money constraints, time constraints, career break constraints. So why is this happening, and what is it that you can do as a youngster to prevent yourself from such a situation? So according to us, there are 3 critical reasons for it. The first critical reason, we had discussed it earlier, was around the fact that people are not good at understanding their money situation. कि यार कितना कमाना है, how to spend, when to spend, on what things to spend, how much money you need to retire, how much to work versus not, what career growth looks like. So all these different things ultimately relate to money. So from that perspective, it's very important for you to understand this point. Let me give you a very quick example here. So take a look at this particular graphic and you will see that mutual funds always tells us, what, 1 crore invest kar do, itna ho jayega, utna ho jayega. But have you ever thought about at what rate the money goes down? The value of 1 crore after 10 years becomes only 50 lakhs. If you are assuming a 7% inflation in the country, if you take 15 years viewpoint, then it becomes 35. If you take a 20 years viewpoint, then it becomes only 25 lakhs. That is assuming 7% inflation. So over to Ayushi, if she can quickly share that how do people who have a job, how do they think about like money ki retire kab hona wala cheez, right? So I mean, is there any like thumb rule that they follow on these lines?
So I think it really depends on a lot of factors. It really depends on the kind of responsibilities you have. For example, if you have kids, you need to ensure good education for them. So you might need to, so that is one factor that you would have to consider. Then if you have aging parents, you might want to cater to their needs. And again, this is another factor. The third is whether your partner is working or not. Then where you want to live, what kind of lifestyle you want to lead. So all these factors you have to keep in mind before you decide what is the retirement figure that you need to have before you can actually call yourself financially free.
So in our case, we decided that for us, it would be like 30 times our overall yearly expense, right? So if we can save that much, then we would call ourselves financially free. Uske piche math kya hai? Why have we picked that number? It again depends on your investing skills. That if, for example, you make a 30x of your portfolio, that becomes a nest. Now you need to go and invest this nest somewhere so that it can keep servicing your lifestyle. For example, assume karo ki 30x is a figure of hypothetically 3 crores. Now, if you can put that 3 crores in different investment instruments, and if you can make a 10% return on it, then the question becomes that can you service your lifestyle with that 10% of 3 crores, which is 30 lakhs a year. So if that can be done, then you are theoretically retired.
Or it could be 20 times your annual income. I think this is a rule that is generally followed.
Yeah. I'm glad that Ayushi brought that up. See guys, basically what happens is that personal finance has a word personal in it.
Yeah.
It really depends from family to family. It depends on circumstances versus circumstances. कुछ लोग 20% बोले, 20x बोलेंगे. Some will say 25x, some will say 30x, some will say 50x. So in our case, we decided 30x for a wide variety of reasons. And that is what we have stuck to. We are already at that stage. So that's the rule that you can follow, or you can, kind of estimate everything, run like spreadsheets. So general bana lo. I think that will be much easier. That is what we would say. Okay. So second key reason that we have seen people struggle on is the concept of being too defensive with your investments. So I'll have Ayushi explain this point.
To elaborate this point, you can probably look at this tweet. I think it is summarized really well. And the basic point around this tweet is that there is something called as an income pyramid. Now, the people at the top, they can increase their income many-fold, while the people at the bottom of the pyramid are not able to do so. Why is that? Because the people at the top, they can invest, they have multiple sources of income, so they have a lot more money also, while the people at the bottom do not even have discretionary income to spend on their basic wants. So this means that you would need to take risks if you want to crawl up this pyramid, and being too defensive might not actually work in your favor.
Right. And also we need to relate this to the concept of overall debt in the economy, and economics so we'll keep it really short here because this is a more of a personal video. What ends up happening is that as the debt on the world goes up and up, it leads to a problem. It leads to a lot of volatility, and it leads to slightly higher general inflation in the economy.
Primarily, inflation would affect the bottom of the pyramid people only. They do not affect the wealthiest classes because they already have a lot of money. They do not really care about inflation. But middle income level people, they actually bear the brunt of inflation, and they also have to pay a lot more taxes. So they have that. They are on that double-edged sword.
Right, and the simple formula that I would suggest here is that the option for you is very simple, that whatever money you are making, you have to grow it at a higher rate than the actual inflation in the economy. My estimate suggests that the real inflation in the economy would easily be 12-13%. Official estimates will suggest something else, so I cannot comment on that. I'll let Ayushi probably take up that on some other video, not on this video. But general, very quickly, what do you think is the real inflation in the economy?
Must be around 10%.
Okay, all right. How did Ayushi get to 10%? Why MASAI is 13%? If you know, we will tag our answer somewhere in the description and comment box, so you can go and read it. But according to me, the real inflation in the economy around 12-13% hai. So you need to grow your wealth at a slightly higher rate than that. Then only you are preventing your money. That's a simple point. Third and final mistake that we have seen people make around us is that they end up taking loans for very unproductive things, and they do not understand the concept of loan taking. Now, here we will just speak from personal experience. So many of our friends have purchased really expensive houses, right? And 5 crore ke ghar, 10 crore ke ghar, and all that stuff. So on loan, right? And
no, I've seen people in their early 20s buying iPhone on loan, which is very surprising because I could not even think of an iPhone at that age.
Right. So now everyone is thinking about iPhones, right? So from that perspective, see, I mean, guys, iPhone loan is like more of a consumer loan, right? And housing loan is something that you can say it's a productive loan, right? कोई definition नहीं होती productive versus unproductive per se, at least from a practical viewpoint. What we will simply like to suggest is that please take loans in limit. Please understand what type of items you should be taking a loan on. And finally, the loan should not break your back, right? That if, for example, you take a loan to buy a house and you do not end up getting possession of that house, आपकी EMI भी जा रही है, you have to pay the EMI also. Wherever you are renting it, probably a place, you have to pay like rent for that also. Now that is back breaking. So it's not as if that just because some real estate is available, you have to take like 5 crore ka loan and whatever that limit is. So please limit. So
again, it really depends on the kind of asset. If the real estate can actually help you build a business, or it can actually give you more returns in the future, then it's fine to take a loan. Similarly, if an iPhone is being used to make videos like Akshat does, then it's a good investment. Otherwise, probably not.
So see guys, I'll not be diplomatic and nice the way Ayushi is. So I will tell you straight that if you do not meet that limit of loan taking, don't take it. It can break your back. It can be really bad, right? We have never extended that limit for us, right? We only took like one loan to buy a house because maybe we were getting some interest rebate. Ayushi can explain it. Ayushi is much better at taxation than I am. So we took that. That's the only loan that we have. We do not take loans. We don't use credit cards, all that stuff. So yeah, that's not for us. Really a personal choice, whatever you want to do, right? But that if you're taking 100 rupee loan, then your salary should be 300 rupees, right? 1/3 se upar mat karna apna loan, right? So otherwise it can lead to a lot of troubles. That is what we have generally seen. Really depends, right, on a bunch of other different things, but this is the general suggestion from our side. So okay, so this brings us to the fourth topic, that as to how we are designing a more free life as of now for us. You might think that, these guys are like financially free. So ho gaya, right? I mean, they just lie down on some beach all day long and ho gaya, right? So is that what our reality is, and what are like areas we are struggling as of now, and uske around how are we going about designing freedom? If you can speak a little.
So the first thing that we really want to do is homeschool our kids, and we are working towards that. That means that we require a lot of time to do that.
Okay, so let me just quickly get there. No, it's okay. So let me just very quickly get there because we'll get a lot of questions. लोग पूछते रहते हैं कि अच्छा why are you homeschooling our kid? कुछ ने तो आरोप लगा दिया कि you guys want to save your money, therefore you're homeschooling your kid. So let me first and foremost discuss the reason why we are homeschooling our kids. So Ayushi, if you can explain that.
Honestly, I want to homeschool our kids so that we can travel more. Because I love traveling, and that is something that I really look forward to.
Right.
And
now many people will say that, okay, you guys are like very selfish. So let us take a pause and let us help you understand more about our perspective on
no,
this.
this is a personal reason. No, officially.
No, so I'll just tag along and I'll speak that, see guys, I mean, what ends up happening, and very, very practically speaking, is that there are multiple reasons why we are decided to homeschool our kids. One prime reason is that number one, we both come from slightly more academic oriented backgrounds, right? So we can homeschool, right? So that's an option that we have. So that's one, right? Number two, we are creating a lot of free time for ourselves. So hopefully we can put that into the mix. And that again gives us the ability to homeschool our kids. We are not trying to sort of, say anything negative about going to schools or any of that things, right? So that's an option. Homeschooling is not an option that everyone can execute. We completely understand that. For us, the way we think about it is this: we will travel, right? And
now Now adding to that, not only traveling, but we are really inclined to do it because we think we can do a good job. For example, I really love doing science experiments with Zain at this age. He's only 3, but I really like to, dig up experiments and do it with them. So this is something that we personally are inclined to do, and I respect if not everybody would want to do that. So inclination is very, very important.
Right, but also it's a very valid point that it's about being slightly more free also, right? That's a consideration that we definitely picked up, because hota ye ki, I mean, for example, if you want to travel, right, and if you want to travel anytime that we like, then everything ties around the school life of a kid, right? So that is what life becomes even for parents, right? And that is something that we have experienced with our parents also from that perspective. So we get that completely, right? So therefore, it's a choice that we have made. Concerns that are usually shared with us are that, number one, your kid could become socially awkward, right? And number two, it's illegal in India. No, it is not illegal in India. Probably make a separate video. Number two, your kid could become socially awkward. Again, this is not true, because you can put your kids, for example, we have decided that we'll put our kids in like soccer practice, football practice, music classes, painting classes.
Zain went to summer camps, and we'll make him join a dance class soon. So all these things can actually be good social gatherings for him.
Right. And finally, like, I mean, if we have to say something negative about schools, it's again the point that, a 6 घंटे का school hota hai, if the school is for 6 hours, then how much exactly is your kid talking in those 6 hours with his or her friends? The answer would be very limited, because usually it's like lecture based, 30-40 minutes there will be a class, 30 minutes there will be teaching, 5-minute break, and then the next teacher comes, so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, we can get into the details of it, but for us, it's a freedom decision that we want, because we want to design a free life where we can travel around with our kids, do a bunch of activities and make learning more activity oriented. Plus we have the time and resources to do it. So therefore we are picking that homeschooling route. So second freedom point that we will quickly discuss is the money freedom point and career freedom point. So at this stage, we could somewhat say that money-wise, you're free. But does that mean that you just lie down on the beach and, do nothing? No, because humans always need some kind of activity, so to say, to stay engaged, irrespective of how much money they are would make. So from that perspective, what do you think our career design would be like, right? And what are 2-3 things that we are doing there?
With respect to career designing, I think Akshat is at a stage where he's more or less location independent. So that's a good thing for us. With respect to me, I think I'm working towards new skills. For example, we are writing a book together. I'm trying to learn more about YouTubing. So, and I'm also learning about different businesses. So that is something that probably will help us in the future.
Absolutely. So now comes the final point, which is around, we are building more of a rented life as of now versus owning stuff, right? This is a question that keeps on getting tagged to me, that Akshat, you have purchased real estate, but आप दूसरों को बोल देते हो कि real estate मत खरीदो, right? Why is that? So okay, I'll let Ayushi explain that point, that we have a lot of real estate, but we don't have a house. Why is that?
So we actually purchased real estate more from an investment point of view, and we also have real estate because we derive rental income from there.
So it's a business.
Yeah, it's a business basically. But right now we are not looking to own a house of our own. We have postponed that decision to a later date. But right now we are not owning a house because, as we mentioned earlier, we want to travel more, we want to explore more things, and we want to give those experiences to our kids as well. So right now we are living in a rented house and probably will continue to do so.
And also, like, another related point is that even our priorities might change with time, because our kids are young right now, right? We don't know what type of activities they might like, whether or not, like, I mean, we are currently living in South Goa, right? So यहाँ पे there might not be that level of activity, hypothetically speaking. We might have to move to Panaji or some other slightly more city-oriented culture. That might happen, right? We don't know, right? So from that perspective, buying a house right now, right, and yeah, just from like residential point of view, it can become complicated. So these are 2-3 points that we are incorporating to create a more free life. So at this stage, we would like to quickly summarize some of the key points that has allowed us to become free, so that you can take these salient points away from our journey, and we will recap it one by one. So first is that it is very critical that you get a good education, right? That is, I'm a big proponent of, both of us are big proponents of having a good education. It gives you more flexibility. It allows you to make good money in your career. So that is one that I would definitely recommend to youngsters. Over to you. What are some other things that you will recommend?
Build your skills, leverage those skills, and finally use those skills to make more money, to double, triple, make your increase your income.
Nice. And even the skills that you are developing, those need to be oriented with time, right? I mean, whichever evergreen skills are one thing, that, you know, ability to read, write, speak really well, these are evergreens. These will always be in fashion, but you need to tag them along to trending skills. So if you combine both of these, it would allow you to live a more free life. Any word of advice for finding a life partner, and, you know, what are your thought processes about finding life partner? Do marriage counseling very, very quickly, under 1 minute. Okay.
Love marriages are wonderful, but when you fall in love, please also be practical about your values and all your goals in life, and also your partner's values and goals.
Okay, so I did not say it, Ayushi said it. So if you want to tag someone, tag Ayushi on this, right? Not me.
Wow,
it's
you
like,
should be practical. That's very
it's like very complicated to give, like, you know, marriage advice, so I stay away from it. There was just literally 3 sentences I spoke on one of my videos. I will link it here. I have no advice to give on like marriage, right? So that's what I would simply say. And also, final point, that it is not just about money freedom, it is also, or rather more about time freedom, because if you have a lot of free time, then you can utilize it to gather more experiences. So personally speaking, or rather I'm speaking on both of our parts, that we would rather be moderately rich with a lot of free time rather than being exceedingly rich with very little free time, because that would allow us to create a lot of memories, and that's the type of free life that we would want to live. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will see you soon.